founder tells us the true story of how McDonald's became the billion-dollar fast food empire it is today. It tells us the origins of where McDonald's came from, as well as the story in which Ray Kroc came in there and essentially took the McDonald's concept from the original owners and turned it into this kind of fast food empire it is today. Now, going into this film, I was actually really looking forward to it because I remember seeing the trailer for it when it was like first announced, like back last year, and I was really looking forward to seeing it. It was due to come out like August, September time, and then they just pushed it back, and I was like, oh, okay. I get it in a way because they wanted to have more of a chance of winning more awards, getting nominated at the award season, coming out kind of December, January time, but that was ultimately pointless because it didn't get nominated or anything. But I eventually finally got around to checking this film out. For some reason it didn't come out in the UK until February, so I had to wait even longer, but I finally got the chance to see it, and I'm really happy to say that The Founder was actually a really good film, and it actually surprised me how good it was. I wasn't expecting this to be a bad film. I was expecting it to be a good film. I just didn't think it was going to be great. I thought it was going to be one of those films that was, it was fine, it was good enough, but it wasn't that great. But it was actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be. I was really pleasantly surprised by how good this film was. It was just as good, if not better, than I was expecting it to be. One of the best things about The Founder for me was Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton is just so great. I don't know if he's one of the best actors working today, but what Michael Keaton does so well is that he's really great at kind of becoming the character he's playing, and you really buy into him as that guy. And we've had so many great Michael Keaton performances over the last few years. He had that comeback with Birdman, so great, and he was in Spotlight as well, that more of an ensemble piece, but he was really good in that film as well. And now here in The Founder, he again really knocks it out of the park, and I really liked him in this role because it's the kind of role that Michael Keaton is just so good at. It's the kind of likeable arsehole role, and that he's not really a nice guy, he's not really a good-hearted kind of good guy, but Michael Keaton, he brings that kind of charm, that charisma, and that likability with his performance that you just can't help but kind of almost root for him, and you kind of entertained by him, even though he's not really that nice of a guy. Michael Keaton really brings it in his performance, and he's so great in those kind of roles. It's almost similar to kind of like a Wolf of Wall Street, Nightcrawler kind of thing, in that the main protagonist isn't really kind of a good guy, but you kind of get behind him and rooting for him because he's kind of funny and charismatic, kind of like a Jordan Belfort kind of character in the Wolf of Wall Street. And also what I loved about the character of Ray Kroc in this film, he's not a nice guy. He's kind of does kind of horrible things to these brothers, but what's so great about that character is that he's essentially the main protagonist of the film, the one we're kind of rooting for and getting behind almost. But he's not really a protagonist kind of character, he's more of an antagonist, because by the end of the film we kind of really hate him. And I really like the film for that, because I can't really think of any other film in recent memory that was able to take a character who starts off as like the protagonist, the character we're kind of rooting for and getting behind, and then by the end of the film we like hate him and we're kind of rooting against him. I thought it was really great. The only other film that I can think of in recent memory is Nightcrawler. Lou Bloom, played by Jake Gyllenhaal, he was the protagonist of that film, but he's not really a protagonist kind of character. He's more of an antagonistic type character, and it was really cool having that character in the lead role, even though he wasn't a straight up good guy, yet we're still kind of rooting for him. And it's kind of the same thing here, in that the character that Michael Keaton's playing, Ray Kroc, we're almost rooting for him and getting behind him at the beginning of the film. It's kind of like an underdog kind of thing. We really want him to do well and succeed, and so we're kind of getting behind him and rooting for him. But then by the end of the film, after he's kind of screwed these brothers over and he's doing these kind of horrible things, we're really kind of hate him and he's really rooting against him, and it's really quite fascinating, I thought, how they're able to do that with that character. Also, I really liked how this film told us the true story behind the origins of McDonald's, because I always knew that McDonald's started off as this small restaurant and then it ended up getting expanded into this massive multinational worldwide thing, but I had no idea that it was someone that went in there from the outside and kind of screwed the owners over and did it against their will. I had no idea until the trailer for this film came out. I thought it was a really fascinating story, and I've since learned more about it, and it's really incredible when you look into it, like kind of what this guy did, and he was able to get away with it, and he was able to do these things to these brothers, because the original two McDonald's brothers, Mac and Dick McDonald, started up this little restaurant, and then Ray Kroc comes in there and just essentially kind of screws them over. At the beginning you kind of like almost rooting for him and getting behind him. It's kind of like an underdog kind of thing, but at the end it's all revealed what he was really doing all along, and it all comes together and you're like, oh my god, that was cold. Jesus, you know, and the fact that he was able to do what he did and get away with it, it's really incredible. And it's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's kind of a two-sided coin kind of thing, because it's really horrible what he did to these two McDonald's brothers. And he essentially took their company away from them and completely took everything away that they had built and made. He essentially robs them, takes it all from them, everything from them, even their name. So he does these really kind of horrible things to these guys, but then you can look at it like, well, if it wasn't for him, McDonald's wouldn't be what it is today. He's the one that expanded it into this massive, big, kind of global franchise that it is today. So if it wasn't for Ray Kroc, we probably wouldn't have McDonald's today as it is today. So it's kind of interesting, kind of two-sided coin kind of story. Like, it's really not very nice what he did, but if it wasn't for what he did, McDonald's wouldn't be what it is today. So I thought it was a really kind of fascinating true story. And also I had a lot of fun with this movie. I think it was quite entertaining. Again, it's not a very kind of nice story what this guy does, but because of the kind of the charm and the charisma that Michael Keaton brings to the performance of that character Ray Kroc, it's kind of almost kind of entertaining, even though it's not really a nice story. You should be kind of sick at what this guy did, and you kind of are towards the end, but it is entertaining. Michael Keaton is really great in that role. The two guys playing the brothers, they're really great, and I really liked what the director John Lee Hancock brought to this film. He also directed St. Mr. Banks, which was another true story about the origins of Mary Poppins, and I love that film. A very different kind of film. I think he did a really good job with this, because it could have felt too heavy-handed and full-on, but it didn't. You know, it didn't feel like just an advertisement for McDonald's, but at the same time it wasn't dissing McDonald's either. It kind of it showed all the sides of the story. So it's kind of almost in the first half it's showing how amazing McDonald's is in terms of how it works and the revolutionary kind of new methods that the McDonald's brothers brought to the kind of fast food restaurant industry, and the methods they employed in the kitchen. It's really incredible. You're like, wow, these brothers really did so much, and how when they first started it was really unprecedented, and it's kind of making you realise how amazing it really was, and you kind of almost want to go out and go into McDonald's. But then by the end of the film you're like, Jesus, yeah, I really hate this guy for what he did and how he completely changed it and took it from the brothers and did it against their will, and you kind of, I don't want to support McDonald's now. So, it was really great. I really liked how they did that. It was from all different angles. It wasn't just one-sided. They showed all different sides of the story. And I think the director did a really good job with this film. If I had any negatives with this film, there wasn't really anything I didn't like about it. I kind of really liked it all around. There wasn't anything that stood out that I really didn't like. I mean, it's a little kind of maybe generic at the beginning, how he's just going from place to place. He's failing to sell these milkshake machines, but they kind of needed that as necessary setup to show the fact that Ray Kroc was kind of unsuccessful in selling these milkshake machines. Even though he's a really great salesman, he wasn't doing that well until he discovered McDonald's. I suppose it was a little kind of iffy at the beginning to get into it, and there's kind of how it ended as well. No spoilers, but it kind of, the ending mirrors the beginning, and I like that, but it's kind of like it flashes forward like 20 years or so, like just for like one short moment. I don't know if that was really necessary, but again, I'm really nitpicking with this, because overall, guys, I really liked The Founder. It was a really pleasant surprise. It was even better than I thought it was going to be. Michael Keaton was really terrific in that lead role as Ray Kroc, and it was a really fascinating, thought-provoking, true story of the origins of McDonald's and how it became what it is today. Really revealing and insightful and interesting and entertaining as well. So overall, I'm going to give The Founder 4 stars. It was a really great, solid film. I don't know if this is like a 5-star film. It's not like an Oscar-worthy film or anything like that. But again, I thought it was just a really great, solid film. And I had a really good time with this. I thought it was a really good film. So there we go, guys. That was my review of The Founder. Have you seen the film yet? And if so, what did you think about it? Let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to know what you think. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, click subscribe to see more. But for now, I've been David O'Sullivan. I'll see you next time.